Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by CoolStuffInc.com, CardHoarder.com, Ultra Sleeves, as well as Twitch subscribers and Patreon supporters just like you. My name is Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, MTGNerdGirl.
Hey guys, welcome back.
Ruben Bressler.
Good evening. Long time no see.
I know, right? We're back at it. This time there's no interruptions, there's no events. It's just time to talk about the good old news of the Magic Day. Now, if you missed our pre-show, subscribers to this channel get access to our NSFW version early, as well as our Patreon supporters. With that, we kick it off with our first pick and our giveaway. Get your chance at $50 worth of anything at CoolStuffInc.com by typing !raffle in the chat. But subscribe first to get 2 chances to win, and support your favorite streamer with your suggestions at the end of the show to see who we raid tonight. That is, of course, thanks to CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day. Now, the first pick, ladies and gentlemen, we made it to kitchen tables all over the world. CNBC programs, multiples of them, investing.com. So many at this point videos that have discussed and thought about and looked through and seen exactly what's going on with the Hasbro stock, because Hasbro stock was officially it was changed to underperform from buy at Bank of America. This move came after they conducted what they called a deep dive into the trading card game business. And that they said Hasbro has been overprinting cards and destroying the long-term value of the business. So we got to get a little inside baseball so we can try to figure out exactly what is going on here. And I'll tell you, from what I have learned, and what I know and what I've learned over the past little while, I would be very curious if someone were trying to short Hasbro stock, as in they want the stock to go down, because it gives a little bit of a Hitjob feel. It's a very skewed take in many ways. I've actually gotten access to the report itself, the actual report from Bank of America. And so I read all the way through it and checked out everything they had. And a lot of their stuff comes from some, community sentiment, whether it be on video or whether it's on Reddit. Some of it coming from the idea that they can go to 2 stores in New York City, and one of them has some product and one of them has less product, and somehow blanket statements over all of the product held in large big box stores all over the country is somehow derived from that. Looking at charts of prices of boxes of cards, which only focus on release day forward, not before the release day, when things were selling during a pre-order period, only after, when it looks like they fell off a cliff, because that's how release periods work. The idea of saying that the store that had Innistrad product in it had old product, old undesirable product. Innistrad sets are still in standard. Innistrad came out last Christmas, like last, November and stuff. We were already here. So there's a lot of weird, skewed reporting, I feel like, on this to make this call, because from all intents and purposes, Magic's doing great. Magic's doing fine. The standard sets, some of them have underperformed, certainly. Baldur's Gate was a gigantic mess. I'm talking seriously crap in the bed mess. It was awful. A ton of people lost a ton of money. No doubt about it. But basically any other product that you can kind of look at a life cycle that you can see over time, most all of them have done fairly well. Some of them very well, such as Kamigawa and Kamigawa collector boxes. The Brothers War collector boxes are doing very well right now as well, thanks to the serialized cards and stuff like that. And from what I can see, this is not them like uncovering, the monster at the end of Scooby-Doo. Like, they didn't figure out that Hasbro's overprinting anything. I think they just kind of read these weird tea leaves, and they may have gotten the ear of someone who was really pissed off at Wizards, for example, like a lot of people are a lot of the time, because there's plenty to get emotional about because it's Magic. But again, a lot of the ways this is, it comes down to lies, damn lies, and statistics after a while. When you look at these certain charts and graphs and these certain photographs from certain stores, and did you talk to, Walmart? Did you talk to the actual person in charge of purchasing? Did you talk to the people who they lease out that shelf space to? You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of these sort of this kind of deep dive, I would expect a serious, a ton of time being spent talking to the big dogs. And I'm not sure that was the case. And a lot of times these people who work for the investment groups, they don't get the audience that they want. They'll come sniffing around and they'll say, hey, Mr. CEO of a card seller or whatever, would you talk to us? And a lot of people are like, no, because if that person were to say 10 positive things about Magic or Hasbro or Wizards, and then say maybe 10, critical things about Magic or Hasbro or Wizards, they can pick and choose whatever they want out of that conversation to make the funnel view what they want it to be. And so I would take a lot of this with a big old giant grain of, I think someone had an agenda, or if they didn't have an agenda, they might have been misled. So
I'm curious to see where, this just came out this week. I feel like this is well beyond our wheelhouse. My wheelhouse, certainly. Sure. I have an English degree. I don't know anything about business. It definitely does feel like the report was written by someone who has no idea about what the industry is about. There were no references to Arena, for example, which is the focus of Magic for the last 4 years. Right. With that said, though, they do know a lot about a lot of things. And so, if I'm going to read any business article and they're going to comment on any business, I'm going to respect this one. I need people who have brains in both worlds to explain this one to me, because it does feel a little hinky. But I mean, we've also talked on this show about how Hasbro's, got some stock issue problems. They've, when is the shoe going to drop on when product fatigue finally catches up to them? When is overprinting going to be a thing? We've just had all of the Magic 30th anniversary product stuff being a big talking point. Rudy is still out shouting at the moon about it. So all of this is sort of coalescing together, and this is just another tidal wave pushing the rest of that tide forward.
Well, sometimes it feels a narrative that you like. NerdGirl, how do you feel about this?
So I was kind of waiting to jump in a little bit. You guys are more knowledgeable about this than I am, but I will say that I didn't go through the report like you did, Evan. But the things I was hearing from social media, and again, nothing I put a lot of stock into, because I myself didn't do the research or read into the report. But a lot of the things that the report had said from what people were commenting on were a lot of the exact same things that we say on the show, like what Ruben was mentioning, the product fatigue being one of the major driving issues for this report, that they're going too hot, too fast, and that's the sort of you can kind of predict the same thing for a housing market, right? When the housing market was really ramping up in the last year and a half or whatever, where's the bubble on this? And I feel like they're it sounded from what I was gathering from the bits and pieces that they are guessing the bubble is the thing, right? Not that they think that Hasbro's is in the shitter, but that they are doing something that will create a downturn, which I can't say one way or the other.
Well, I would again note that there's a couple things. One is, like Ruben mentioned, there was not any mention of digital anything in all of this, which seemed to be really weird. Another thing I didn't mention was that there was just a 13% price increase basically across the board for all Magic products. That is one of the largest price increases in the past 5-7 years, if not longer. And to have not mentioned it at all in regards to how it impacts the revenue and the sales of Magic, I think is it starts making me question who exactly were you talking to and what exactly did they want to get out of that conversation? Because, again, as coming from a retailer, coming from the fact that I'm telling you, I took this report very seriously. I'm sourced it down to exactly what they could find, exactly kind of where they found it, and finding out things like they showed charts only from the release date of the product, not the full life cycle of the pre-order period of the product. Stuff like that makes you go, why did you not show that there were plenty of sales on the left-hand side of that chart before it fell off the cliff? There were plenty of sales there. So that stuff makes me question it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I think it can be both. I think that the article can uncover truths and start a conversation based on, is Wizards not in trouble, but is Wizards not perfect, right?
Sure.
Are they about to stop failing forward?
And
then the flip side of that is, are they being too harsh, right? Like, this was definitely an article written by what the kids call a hater. But
it was definitely the negative
haters
side.
ain't wrong sometimes. So,
and sometimes the haters want to feel like they're right, and so they want to fit that view, right? They want to make sure you see it that way. So, from the retailer side, we are not all is it burning down. I feel like there's a lot of product, no doubt about it, but a lot of product is still keeping up with the times. But not to harp on it too long. That's just my point of view on that one. We're going to move on here to the first pick to gather the townsfolk, thanks to cardhoarder.com, offering the best inventory prices and delivery of cards from Magic Online. Check them out today. Tell them we sent you. So the Brothers War Roundup happened. Unfortunately, Ruben was ill and traveling, so between those two, was unable to do some streaming this past Tuesday. Or this past Thursday, rather. Yeah. But I got in plenty of games then with Constructed, which I thought was great. And the fact that the mono black curve is just unreal right now. Gix giving it card draw early is bananas and stuff like that. But otherwise, I've been just completely enveloped in limited. As soon as any set comes out, like, I'm just all about the limited and crushing it and running it. And the limited environment's weird. I feel like I'm coming out, as I spoke earlier, of the I have no idea what I'm doing phase, where I feel like I draft a good deck and it just dies, and that happens like 2 times, and you're like, is it me? Am I broken? Do I not know how the things work anymore? So, but kind of coming out of that, which is nice. But overall, it definitely feels like a different set, a more unique set than Dominaria United was, which was trying to do, I guess, some domain stuff or whatever, and the multicolor stuff. And also feels like they saved a lot of heavy hitters in terms of, the cards in the set for Brothers War versus Dominaria United, which it felt like, looking back, they kind of pulled some punches.
I would expect that, though. Like, I would expect that Brothers War came out shortly after the reset, right? After we had rotation. Mm-hmm. And you're always going to get more powerful cards as we ramp up into a larger collection. Otherwise, they become not relevant. Mm-hmm. So I think every set moving into or moving forward post-rotation is going to be more punchy, I guess. But I think both sets were fun. I personally haven't played a ton of Brothers War yet, just because I got back. I had to drive back from Summit. So I'm only like 2 sealed and 2 drafts in. And personally, my initial thought is I liked Dominaria more. But I agree this seems deep, so we'll see.
There's a lot of bombs, Portal to Phyrexia is just almost unbeatable as a Magic card. And a lot of it's artifacts, so it can basically go in a lot of different decks. The 7-mana guy that gains life equal to his power can just literally turn a game around out of nowhere, which, you feel like you're getting ahead, and then smack, you're just right back where you started, and your aggro deck sucks. So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in that format that it's not quite giving me that Rise of the Eldrazi, we built a machine to run you over, but it gives you a lot of mana, which gives you a lot of choices, and there's a lot of activated abilities, which also give you additional choices. So there's a landscape out there where it's easy sometimes to lose to onboard tricks, and it's also hard to sometimes evaluate exactly what your deck's doing, because you don't always understand your Power Stone generation or what your enter the battlefield effects are going to do or how they're going to interact with their stuff. It's been really interesting.
I've had no chance to play yet, so I have no commentary. It looks cool. That's all I can say so far. I wish I'd gotten a chance to play last week, but I had caught the virus, so...
You caught the bads.
I needed to rest.
Well, that's okay. Well, NerdGirl, you are doing some cool stuff for Extra Life right now. Tell us all about that stuff.
Yay, thank you guys. So we have a new Extra Life player auction this year. So we'll put some links in the show notes for you guys. But I have assembled a fantastic team of content creators, personalities, coverage people, as well as cosplayers. Everything under the sun for you guys. And if you're interested, you guys can place a bid. There is a link in there for you guys to fill out a bid sheet. And at the end of the 2-week period, we'll reach out if you're the highest bidder for them. And then you get to do a one-on-one Magic session with your favorite personality. We've got creators like Covert Go Blue, Alias V, We've got Olivia, who's a content creator, cosplayer. We also have pro players. Seth Manfield is in it. Ben S is in it. And you guys can get in with Sheldon and Shivam, some of the like people who are creating the game. Even Melissa LaTorra will sit down and talk to you guys about set design, coach you, teach you, whatever you guys want to do. So there's some links there in the show notes if you guys would like to place a bid. 100% the donation goes directly to Extra Life when we reach out to you to arrange that.
Nice. Brad Nelson,
Very
BDM's in there. I mean, hanging out with Dana Fisher is cool. All sorts of awesome stuff. So high five to that, and go check out those links. They're in the chat right now. They'll be in the show notes if you're listening to us via the podcast. And yeah, hope it goes well.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that sounds delightful.
Yeah. So Wizards announced the 2023 MagicCon schedule, MagicCon Philadelphia, along with 2023's other events, and also upgrading the experience. I think a lot of what we found from Magic 30 was that, you know, it wasn't perfect and it had a lot of room to improve, as a lot of things do, certainly as the first go. And it also feels like they're definitely, you know, turning up the heat on what is going to happen at these future shows, which is cool. Philadelphia is going to be twice as large as Vegas, so that's awesome.
Yep.
Command Zone is going to be a bit more clear, and the access will be purchasable as an add-on, so there won't be people locked out or whatever for whatever reason. In February 17th through 19th, there's going to be in Philadelphia. In May 5th through 7th, they're going to be in Minneapolis. In July 2023, they're going to be in Europe, wherever that happens to be. And on my birthday weekend, September 24th is my birthday, September 22nd through 24th, they're going to be back in Vegas for the World Championships once again. And I might try to make that. Because, you know,
nice.
It's my B-Day.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. Dark Pact Cosplay won the cosplay contest at Magic 30, which was awesome. And it was great to see them say, like, hey, Wizards, planning on going to Philadelphia. You want me to make a thing? And Wizards is like, oh, yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
That's as they should. That is seeing the fire. You strike it while it's hot. Wizards jump in there, throw out the NDAs. Let's get a kick-ass cosplay going in Philadelphia. That'd be awesome.
And that is the person to do it. Holy smokes. The smoke coming out of their head and stuff, that was some next level stuff. That was pretty great.
Yeah, they went all the way on that one, which is great. They have, and I'm gonna pull it up on screen here so we can check it out, because this is too adorable. If you happen to be watching the video, or if you want to check it out, feel free to Google the secret lair.
Oh, yes.
Look at the kitties. Ladies and gentlemen, cats always make everything better. And it certainly is proven again here. Scroll down here real fast. This is, so you get the Arcane Signet promo still there. That's a sick playmat. That Atraxa Playmat is amazing. But check out these kitties. I mean, Descendant's Path, Feldar Sovereign, Lord Windgrace, and Violent Outburst. Violent Outburst with kitties.
Yep, it's very good.
I mean, come on. Yarn unspooled, squeaky toys de-squeaked, upholstery torn to shreds. It was carnage.
Those are very clever. I like the art is simpler than the original cat one, but I actually think I kind of like that more. Like, these are cuter, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
They're amazing. Kneel before her Imperial Majesty, Paulina von Whiskerface III. It makes it much easier to give her pets.
It's very good. It's very good. I do. So Descendant's Path is a card that hasn't been reprinted since it was a rare in Avacyn Restored. That one's,
it's true,
to me, the headliner in terms of just what a reprint is. I love all of them. They're all adorable.
That Violent Outburst is going to be worth some money.
That too.
That Violent Outburst is going to be worth some.
What is is that the money card in this? What is it currently?
Descendant's Path is like $8.
What about the Outburst?
Violent Outburst.
Probably not that much, because this is like an uncommon or whatever.
It's a common. It's a $5 common that was only printed in Alara Reborn. So it has never been reprinted.
Okay.
And
so
this special unique promo version.
Right. So this is a $5 common that has never been reprinted since
like I'll
2009.
I'll throw the gauntlet. This is like a $20 promo, and in my opinion,
yeah, probably
what I likely get.
Okay.
And then Lord Windgrace is an $8 card. So it's $8, $5, and then Feldar
Sovereign, which is
Sovereign?
not much, I don't think.
$2.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I didn't even notice it's a Felidar Sovereign. That's the card that is the bane of my existence.
I know. Well, perhaps this one can be your friend.
Oh no!
It's.
I have to buy it just for that.
Paulina von Whiskerface the Third, y'all.
Right. There are no total misses though. Like, if Felidar Sovereign is the least expensive card, and that's still a relatively played, somewhat reprinted $2.50 card, the rest of these are $8, $8, $5. All of that's going to be extra value, doubled probably at least. This will be well worth it.
So something weird they're doing is called a Secret Lair Showdown. Players will have 4 opportunities to compete in these qualifiers, leading to 32 qualifier players experiencing the Sunday Secret Lair Showdown Championship. These events will feature several exclusive prize cards only available through this event. Every player who participates will earn a prize card. For 2023, that'll be Fatal Push with this crazy artwork I have on the screen right now, which is amazing.
Oh,
I love that
art.
That's
crazy.
That looks like a comic book.
I know, right? The top 8 from each of the 4 events will earn a second prize card, and that will be Ragavan Nimble Pilferer. Look at this thing. That's already a $90 card or whatever.
Yeah.
That's a very expensive promo that you get as just for playing and making that top 8.
That art's crazy.
Yeah, and only for the winner. Only the winner will get the Brainstorm promo here. What is this going to be worth? I don't even know.
Now, that looks like a scene from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
It does.
That looks like some Nickelodeon,
it looks sweet.
It looks dope as heck.
The winner will be one of our 4 prize cards. In 2023, that will be Brainstorm. That's going to be an unbelievably expensive prize, honestly.
So here's the thing, though. Like, I feel like our reactions have not quite caught up to the number of special things that exist. And we've gotten to the point where almost everything is kind of special.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, I agree it's probably going to be good and big, but, like, we're getting to the point where we've done promos of just about everything. Right? And so, like, there is a ceiling, even though there's so few of them available, there's so many cool alters of each card at this point where it's like, okay, it's going to hit a ceiling and that's going to be where it stays.
I mean, yeah, and you want, I think, that kind of high level of like really exciting, fun stuff. And there's a Jace the Mind Skiller promo that we might get time to cover here. But having John Avon in Philadelphia, like, this is the rock star of Magic artists. There is no name that I can think of beyond maybe Rebecca Gay that would have a pull like Avon has a pull. So that is going to be an incredible event for all the people who love them some John Avon, just like myself. The guy's fantastic. And terrific. But, again, Justine Jones, we're going to have Dominic Mayer's going to be sweet. So, yeah, all that stuff's going to happen February 17th through 19th in Pennsylvania. Cool stuff will absolutely be a part of that show. So you guys can come by and hang out at the Cool Stuff booth if you'd like, see what we have to offer. And then it'll be a lot of fun.
I'm excited that the venue is twice as big. I think that is actually possibly the most important upgrade. Magic 30's venue was huge. The World Expo Center in Vegas is enormous. And yet, it did feel like it was small. It did feel like it could have been more space or better managed space. And being able to, stretch their legs, be able to have even larger experience sections, more tournament space, more line space for the artists, for example. Artist Alley was a little bit cramped. Right.
Opening that up a little bit, I know is something they talked about.
So that is very exciting.
Yeah, it should be a hell of a show. So y'all get your tickets when you can. I think those are coming up soon, when those are going to be available. We definitely wanted to discuss and cheer on the news that Grand Stuart Rupert Stark, which I just learned from a wiki, Mr. Graham Stark from Loading Ready Run is lymphoma-free. He is now cancer-free. That is awesome. That is great to hear. I just went back the other day. I'd missed his video where he kind of discussed the whole process of how he found out. And that was, sad and excruciating in its own way. But also it was great because if anything, I was watching that when I knew that he was fine. So I was like, oh, this is kind of neat knowing that he's okay now. So high five. So good. Congratulations to him.
The entirety of the Desert Bus clip where he announces it and then everyone celebrates him for a solid 10, 15 minutes is my favorite video.
Oh my goodness.
It's very good. And if you want a smile on your face, just watch that. It's very good.
That's great. All right. So as we move on here to Desperate Ravings, check out our altar sleeves. Support the show by using the code MagicMikes at checkout for 5% off anything in that store, including a set of exclusive sleeves featuring the Magic Mikes crew at altersleeves.com/MagicMikes. Moving here to the Ravings that are so desperate. So, I personally, I really hate it when people try to make this like some like Wizards don't know what they're talking about. When Wizards likes to ask questions to the community and just get feedback, this isn't some weird admission that they did something wrong. It's, hey, what do you think's going on? Because sometimes I think Wizards can get in their own little echo chamber too. So Aaron Forsythe tweeted out that over the past few years, standard play has dried up in many stores, and certainly in Cool Stuff game stores, I can tell you. I have my own list of possible reasons, but I'd love to hear from you about your store community. Why has sanctioned standard play declined relative to other formats? And, you know, lots of theories out there, and I threw my hat in the ring about it. For me, basically do with trying to get in the format and format cost and things. And also the fact that you don't have to keep up with the Joneses when you have a Pioneer deck or an Explorer deck. You know, you just like, oh, there might be one new card that you might add to your deck, maybe two, but it's not going to be, I have to pay $500 for the whole thing. Others, I think it's just the embracing of Commander all over the world in many ways, of just like, hey, come to the game store, play Commander. We'll still mark that as, matches played for Wizards to tabulate. But, standard events and they don't fire. And it's kind of a horrible cycle because people don't want to play standard. So there's no standard events. And when there's no standard events, no one wants to play standard. So that cycle is kind of left. There's not a giant PTQ cycle along with an SCG cycle, along with, Pro Tour cares about it and yada, yada, and they all go one after the other. It's just kind of a hodgepodge. And when that happens, you just kind of circle the drain until it's all gone.
I know a lot of people who love standard, and I've had a lot of conversations about it recently, and a lot of them are very upset that they just cannot get a game at all. It hasn't fired at any of the Seattle or Portland stores since pre-COVID.
Basically.
And it was the only format to not get a 5K at Summit. There's just nothing to support it right now.
Because no one's excited to go, and Cool Stuff Games, we've tried it. We've tried to do regional PTQ type stuff that they gave us as standard. We're talking 8-9 people showed up. You make it Explorer, you make it Modern, 40 people show up. And that only needs to happen twice, and you're never running standard again. You know what I'm saying? It's not even close. And you want it to be a little close. It's okay if one format wins, but you don't want them to completely lose to the rest of them. And it's incredible.
Yeah.
So, I don't exactly know what the fix is. I think for me, again, the fix for me is a great challenger deck along with a really cool promo that gets you in the store or whatever and get you playing again. Maybe this is where they can lean into Post Malone doing stuff with F&M. Remember that? Remember Post Malone was going to make F&M cool again?
That was supposed to be this year. We're running out of this year.
There's not a lot of year left. So
we got time's a ticking we got 40 days. For Post Malone to do his 2022 F&M tour.
Mm-hmm. Well, he got his secret lair out there, so
that's true.
That was nice. For those who got it in time, it is now closed. That said, FTX died. FTX being a crypto exchange, FTX also being a sponsor of Limited Resources, which was very I don't know about scandalous at the time, but it was certainly headline making at the time, where a crypto exchange was sponsoring a well-known podcast in the community. And you said things like, well, Steph Curry is behind it, and Tom Brady and whatever, making commercials for it. And they renamed a damn stadium after it. They put the logo on the front of all the MLB umpires for the first time ever. They sold that space or whatever, which was kind of nuts. And it turns out they had not only no idea what they were doing, their bookkeeping was a joke. They didn't even have a ledger of people's deposits. They lent millions, $55 million, hundreds of millions, $1 billion to the people on the board People were paid based on emojis. You know what I mean? Hey, can I get paid for so-and-so contract? And it's like, thumbs up sign paid or whatever. I've looked at some of the court docs. It is wild. And ultimately, limited resources with Marshall and LSV, they just basically said, we were misled. I don't know kind of where else you're going to go with that, honestly. And I'm not expecting much beyond that per se. I'm just saying that's just kind of where it was.
People were pretty not happy about limited resources doing that. And then I know LSV took a little heat as well for selling and now working for the Storybook Brawl company. They sold it to an NFT company.
They sold it to FTX.
And then I didn't know which one actually.
Yeah, so they immediately canceled their World Championship things in the Bahamas. They haven't tweeted in like 6 or 7 days now. Like, it's just all dark at Storybook Brawl right now. So...
yeah, that's an interesting one.
Crypto, the NFTs were just such a gross scam, but crypto in and of itself is just not there. It's just not.
As it pertains to limited resources, I don't think that they had to say anything.
Really?
No, I don't think they had to say anything. And
a bunch of people lost money.
That's not on them. They were sponsored by FTX.
But they kind of lent their credibility behind some of it. Did you hear the ads that they read at the time?
I think... No, I didn't.
It's a little rough. It's a little rough.
Okay. I'm with Ruben on this part. Like, it's not unlimited resources. Like,
I'm not saying they owe anybody money.
Evan,
I'm saying that it deserved a response is what I'm saying. He says, I don't think they should respond. I think it deserved a response.
No, I didn't say that they shouldn't respond. I said that they didn't have to respond. And they did anyway, which speaks to their, to their personal ethic. I think it's good of them to respond. And the fact that they, seem to have gone in depth about it and seemed quite remorseful about it. Marshall in particular seemed pretty broken up, about the whole situation. Speaks volumes, I feel. And I think that, I'm willing to forget that it ever happened personally. Now, I didn't lose any money. So, take that with whatever grain of salt you need to take it with. But
and if you haven't heard their pitch, I'm just saying, right?
As a content creator who has taken sponsorships, probably dozens over my career, I can't be held accountable for the actions of every sponsor.
And again, for me, I think it's the intensity of which they kind of push the product. Required a response. And the fact that this was...
I never heard them. I never heard an episode that was sponsored by that company. So.
I also have not, but I have also heard that the reason they were taking a lot of flack is because they were going so hard. Now, I do know the NFT money is big. So the reason they're going so hard is because they were getting paid very big. Yeah. And now we're saying Marshall is pretty, torn up about it. Is that because they were leading their viewers down a NFT rabbit hole? Or is it because the NFT dollars are gone? Right. I don't know.
And then this being, it wasn't even sort of NFTs. It was just a crypto exchange. So it was like, hey, buy your crypto on this website that we recommend. And then the website completely goes to crap. And now you can't get your money back. And they're out money, as I understand it, of some amount. And Lord knows a lot of other people are for a lot more. And check out the YouTube channel CoffeeZilla to learn more. It's fascinating how these things explode. But regardless, they addressed it. It's a thing. It sucked. Yeah. I'm glad it's in the rear view. We discussed a little in the pre-show. Alpha Investments going so hard on 30th anniversary edition, which is kind of hilarious. I think he's up to like 4 or 5 videos in the last couple days.
Speaking of YouTube creators that talk about Magic that I don't watch, I'm sorry. I think I've watched 2 Rudy videos in my life. Sure. I can't. I am not shocked that he's all over it. This is like where the eyeballs are.
It's what people like to talk about and what people want to hear about. And whatever. It's amazing to hear him beg for all intents and purposes for people to not purchase the product, because
let's not dogpile on other content creators too harshly here.
Well, knowing Rudy, trust me, I'm sure he appreciates the publicity. But either way, the idea that if the 30th anniversary product is successful, what happens? And the idea that what if they were just to reprint Antiquities boxes? with different backs, and you could buy and open Antiquities boxes. Is that a bad thing?
I will say that
bad?
Rudy is the most comprehensive Magic YouTube creator when it comes to financial issues. I would be interested to hear his take on the Bank of America thing.
Oh, I've heard
it. Does he have a video on that?
Yeah, you can check it out.
I should go look that up.
Yeah, and for me, that's a lot of...
That is his wheelhouse, right? Like, that's the kind of stuff I want to know about. 5 videos on Magic 30th anniversary seems excessive.
It's just a lot, and I think a lot of what the financial American or Bank of America stuff is, for me, it feels like a lot of confirmation bias of stuff that he wants to be true. And again, the 30th anniversary stuff, the idea that if they print older stuff with different backs, they're going to print more old stuff with different backs. I personally don't care, but for those who have a ton of money in the reserve list products or a ton of money in old sealed, they probably care a lot, I guess, because it might devalue some of that old stuff. I don't know. But either way, silly and kind of wild. DCI numbers are returning. Did you hear about this?
I did hear about this.
Apparently, DCI numbers are coming back for the RC. And they have an email to retrieve if you've forgotten it, but Ben Secker says, I know my DCI number better than my mother's birthday, and I do too. I know my DCI number right now.
Me too.
Just rattle it right off. Yep.
I could rattle off my 8-digit DCI number faster than I could rattle off my home phone number. Because who has a home phone anymore?
6 digits, baby. 6 digits.
I think the only number I know more than that was my grandmother's number where I grew up, her landline. Where I had all my friends call and ask if I could talk or come outside and play. Yeah, that number I remember. Mm-hmm. Then my DCI, then my social, I think. Yeah.
It's like social DCI for me.
Yeah. Cell number.
Home phone number, cell phone number.
Right.
My dad's cell phone number I needed to have memorized for a little bit because I got a cell phone super late. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have my dad's cell phone. I needed to have my dad's cell phone number memorized. That's about it. I don't know my best friend's phone number. I don't know. I don't think I've ever known a girlfriend's phone number. I've typed it into my phone one time, and then that was all I ever needed.
Then they're just a name on the phone, and that's all you need.
Name on the phone, or an emoji, usually.
I mean, you're on the older side like me. You definitely had people's numbers memorized when you were a kid.
We were little.
For sure.
You didn't have like a junior high girlfriend. You memorized her number for sure.
Oh, you thought I had a girlfriend at junior high. That's adorable.
Neither of us. Neither.
Someone did. Someone did.
Or maybe your buddy you played Magic with.
Some cool, like the guy on the basketball team.
I had friends that I definitely knew the phone number to Darts USA. You're right. I did know my Magic Store's phone number.
Nice. I mean, I could tell you my home number from when I was a child. I still remember that number. So, either way, let's move on here to a little bit of splash damage. Not a lot. We talked about Storybook Brawl, unfortunately. I was having a really good time with the Pokemon TCG Live beta. This is their new client for the product, and it's really cool. I got to learn how to play Pokemon all over again, which is a neat little game. And yeah, it's super duper polished. Again, considering they're calling this beta, and I've certainly been through Magic Online betas and Magic Arena betas. This is a million times better than those. And so for those who like Pokemon, it's a pretty cool product.
Great.
They delayed the D&D movie, which might be the most on-brand thing I've ever heard in my life.
Great.
Just saying.
Did we ever get a reason why they delayed the movie?
I have
just
no
production delays, or did someone get injured?
It can't be that because it's been done for a while. I think they're just in the editing.
They're in post-production.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah, they're definitely in post-production. They were eyeing a late March 2023 date apparently now.
They had me sponsored playing ads for it a year ago.
Yeah.
So
the trailer came out 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, something like that.
So this is post-production edits, or
scheduling.
Something in the movie needed to be completely cut, rewritten, one of the
shot.
actors got in trouble, something.
It could also be none of those things. It could be something similar to COVID, where they postponed several movies because they thought it was not going to air at a good time.
That's
it could
true.
be that there's a conflict, that there's another movie that they don't want to pull from, or something along those lines. But what was it? The gamer one, the guy, Free Guy,
Free Guy,
that got
yeah.
pushed for 2 years because of COVID.
That's right.
Like, they wanted it to be launched in theaters, yada, yada. Now, I know the theaters are open, so that's not this, but I just mean, like, who freaking knows what it could be?
That's true. Could be anything. It's Hollywood.
There you go.
There's no rhyme or reason.
All right, so we turn the corner here to the finisher. Friends, foes, and undecideds. The day is finally here. Hell has frozen over. The trumpets have sounded, and Elon Musk now owns Twitter.com. And it has been a train wreck, the scale of which we haven't seen since Britain's Liz Truss's debacle last month. Hey, how about that? But it is a debacle fact, or it is a debatable fact, rather, that the Bird app is on the way to the grave. So tell me, what will you miss most about Twitter when it finally goes kaput, Ruben?
Well, as Twitter is the only app where I have a modicum of celebrity and a following, I will miss legitimacy. But in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy paying $8 a month to make sure that I am the only official blue checkmarked Magic Pro Tour Twitter account.
Oh, whoa, daggers.
That's me. I'm the Magic Pro Tour.
Nerd Girl?
Well, I will miss so much about Twitter. All of the wonderful, anonymous vitriol, all of the quote tweets. They're always so nice and kind,
Always.
the sane and reasonable discourse. Where else can we get all of that except for Reddit, Facebook, and of course, the YouTube comments?
Right down there. You guys can like and talk about the show all you want. Nobody wants to be the main character on Twitter, especially when you're Twitter. Fortunately, the social media villain of the last week has shifted to Ticketmaster, because the end of personal privacy and the death of comedy and commentary is one thing. But woe betide to those who piss off the Swifties.
Mm-hmm.
They will come and get you.
You've been trying to get those T-Swift tickets. You got an army at your door.
Yeesh.
That's been pretty wild from what I understand.
Yeah.
But that ends another live episode of Magic Mike's. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things Magic. Thank you, Nerd Girl.
Thanks for having me, guys. See you next week.
Thank you, Ruben.
Thanks for sticking with us, y'all. I will try to not sound as froggy in the future, and I will be here with you next week.
Ribbit. As we go to our final slide, I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsors, CardHoarder.com, and Alter Sleeves, my co-hosts, MTGNerdGirl and Ruben Bressler. You guys for watching and listening. Hope you support us at Patreon.com/MagicMikes. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, Twitch on TV at Magic Mikes, on Twitter at Magic Mikes Cast, our Magic Mikes subreddit, and like the Magic Mikes page on Facebook. Or join us here next week, same time, same place, for another episode of Magic Mikes. Good night, everybody.